They've only recuperated for 500 epochs and now they're attacking again? Some of them likely haven't fully recovered yet. A group of over 70 primordial ancestors on one side and only 7 lords on the other. Yet, those lords grasp the Dao at the primordial level, the essence of the highest level power, and some of their moves are simply unstoppable. Once initiated, they are bound to hit. Even after layers of weakening, they still penetrate the bodies of those ancestors. To completely expel the penetration of a lord's power is exceedingly difficult. 500 epochs have passed, yet several ancestors still haven't fully recovered. These primordial ancestors are truly desperate. Originally the foremost power in the infinite primordial space, they lost several ancestors in battles against us, and now they're anxious, wanting to sever the cultivator camp's soil completely. The lords are all aware of this. In a vast territory, countless source worlds, a continuous emergence of cultivator geniuses is possible. Currently there are 7 lords, in the future there might be 8 or even 9 lords. If they conquer all territories, all source worlds will become their food, and they could even periodically wipe out the creatures within source worlds. No more successors. Only 7 lords? They are just a relatively strong force within the infinite primordial space. They cannot shake the status of the innate primordial life camp. The countless number of innate primordial life will also continuously produce ancestors. Let's go. Set out. Though they had only rested for 500 epochs and carried some fatigue, the 7 lords still set out together, under the leadership of Starlight Lord, swiftly traversing the distant space-time to intercept the batch of moving ancestors. It's a pity the younger cultivators are too weak, none of them show any hope of becoming a lord. Yuan, as the first ancestor of the cultivator camp, had poured infinite effort into the cultivator territory. Each fall of a world group felt like cutting flesh from his heart. He hoped for a turning point, hoped for the emergence of new lords. In recent epochs they have invested massive resources, allowing even some half-primordial cultivators who have mastered 2 Daos to receive abundant resources. Yet the result still shows no hope for new lords emerging. This Luo Feng has truly been secluded for over 5 billion epochs, able to comprehend 43 types of world-level primordial bloodline, indeed considered outstanding. But to become a lord is still far from enough. Yuan sighed internally. Comprehending 43 types of world-level primordial bloodline, historically, only 5 fusion Dao cultivators have managed such. Before the emergence of Starlight Lord, the world-level primordial bloodline in the land of origin was only a small fraction of what it is now. Luo Feng's performance indeed shows little hope of becoming a lord. Time flows silently like a river. Another 3 billion epochs spent, I've examined all the materials from the 31 ancestors' corpses. Luo Feng looked at the vast void within the quiet room, where 31 sprawling secret pattern figures surfaced, all rather disordered. After all, lacking complete bloodlines and life cores, these secret pattern images were already integrated with the land of origin's help. 3 billion epochs. Luo Feng could feel that in the mind consciousness system, physical body system and other 5 major systems, his accumulation was indeed deeper, but none had undergone qualitative change. The intriguing secret patterns within these deceased ancestors have no clearly defined core, they're all too scattered. Luo Feng lightly shook his head. If life secret patterns could dominate 50% and destruction secret patterns 30%, the two could naturally serve as the absolute core with other secret patterns merely assisting. The entire secret pattern map would be very aesthetic. Yet, in front of him, these 31 ancestors' secret patterns are generally scattered. Among them, the one deemed strongest, the red flame snake ancestor, has flame secret patterns occupying about 31%, life secret patterns 19%, space secret patterns 12%, time secret patterns 11%, material secret patterns 9%. From the secret patterns within its body, it's evident that the proportion of each secret pattern is not high. The scattered secret pattern proportions are typical among the deceased 31 ancestors. Based on my experience with low-level primordial, high-level primordial and world-level primordial, the higher the proportion of the same secret pattern, the stronger the power at the same level. Luo Feng had discovered this earlier. Whether it's at the high-level primordial level like Heavenly Fire Shadow, Ghost Prison Disaster Beast, Nine-Headed Chaos Beast, etc. Or at the world-level primordial level like Star Sea Demon Lord, Life and Death Pupil Beast, etc., it's all the same. The lords are also the same. For example, Starlight Lord comprehended Primordial Space-Time Path. As for the Golden Lord, he comprehended Primordial Destruction Path. Fusion Dao is essentially a Dao too. Luo Feng understood this point. Like himself, the Life and Death Dao is a Dao. All the lords comprehended a Dao at the primordial level. The lords are very focused. Whereas these ancestors explore bloodline potentials, digging a bit here and a bit there, resulting in sparse mastery. They possess dozens of secret patterns within, skillfully combined to grasp the highest level power. Luo Feng gazed upon these secret patterns. It's coincidental. Luo Feng considered these 31 secret patterns, processed and integrated by the land of origin. Though differing from the real form of the 31 ancestors' primordial bloodline, they still estimated a similarity of 78%. Though very scattered, they can perfectly integrate, resembling a whole. Luo Feng observed. From this perspective, the threshold to become an ancestor level was indeed high. Land of origin. Luo Feng sat alone atop a tall building, gazing at the vast world. "Master, it's rare for you to come out." Morosa attended to his master beside him. Now in the land of origin, he held significant authority, with the two ancient countries needing to look at Morosa's face. Morosa was truly the uncrowned king of the land of origin. However, Morosa preferred to serve his master. It's just that the master rarely appeared. "Morosa." Luo Feng looked at him, "You've managed the land of origin very well. Serving the master is my honor." Morosa replied, excited and proud. Luo Feng nodded, gazing upon the endless land. Yet the crisis comes from beyond. Once the innate primordial life camp invades the hinterland, the Dark World group falls, creatures within the land of origin will have no ability to resist. This realm. Luo Feng's brow opened the Biomimetic Destruction Eye. The Biomimetic Destruction Eye now is far more profound than before. Coupled with Luo Feng's immensely powerful spiritual will, he could glance at the entire source world with one eye, even seeing beyond the source world. My home source world. Under Luo Feng's Biomimetic Destruction Eye, observed by his spiritual will, he could clearly see the traces of the rules. 9 Daos are perfectly integrated, orderly, and smoothly operating, forming the operational rules of the entire source world. The origin of the source world. Here lies the source of the 9 Daos, the core of the source world's operational rules, also the source of the source world's power. If the origin remains intact, even if the source world is destroyed, it can be reborn anew. Once the origin is lost, the source world is completely gone. What most attracts the innate primordial life is the origin of the source world. It possesses infinite wonders. World-level primordial consuming it might find a glimmering hope of breaking through to ancestor level. Origin. Luo Feng slightly furrowed his brows. The perfect integration of 9 Daos forms the origin. Having researched the materials of 31 ancestors for billions of epochs, considering them for so long had deeply ingrained his understanding, now the secret pattern map of these 31 ancestor materials surfaced in his mind. Seemingly scattered combinations of various Dao secret patterns forming an entire, compounded with the integration of 9 Daos forming the origin. Boom. Luo Feng's eyes lit up. He saw it. He saw the true reason for the source world's strength. He also saw why each of those ancestors could become an ancestor. I understand. Luo Feng gently murmured. He finally saw it. Amidst layers of fog he finally saw it. He saw the road of break laws with force. The road is already under his feet. What has the master understood? Morosa, who was attending nearby, couldn't help but feel confused upon hearing the master's soft murmur. Morosa could also see that the master was immersed in a state of enlightenment, so he dared not disturb him. He carefully guarded the area, strictly prohibiting any other creatures from approaching, in order to prevent affecting the master's current state. Luo Feng's Biomimetic Destruction Eye at the center of his brow observed the source world origin. In his mind, the secret pattern map of the 31 ancestral corpses materials emerged for comparison. No wonder once a world-level primordial life controls the source world, they, relying on the source world, aren't least bit afraid of a primordial ancestor in a one-on-one situation. Because the source world and the primordial ancestor are fundamentally entities of the same level. Luo Feng understood. The usual source world is like a massive physical body without a soul. Once it has a master, it gains a soul. In a one-on-one, even a primordial ancestor can't handle it. I finally understand why all innate primordial lives possess a life core. Even those at the ancestor level also have a life core, Luo Feng thought. 4 innate primordial lives, everything else can be discarded, but the life core is most crucial. Once the life core shatters, it signifies complete annihilation. I previously believed the life core to be a huge weakness of innate primordial life, an imperfection in their natural creation. Luo Feng had thought this for a long time. Cultivators, they seek enlightenment on their own. No life core, no such huge weakness. Innate primordial life, its life core is its weak point. Some ancestors have fallen, all due to the vulnerability of the life core. The life core is the reason for their limitless potential. Luo Feng realized at this moment. The life core is also another form of origin. These innate primordial lives are born possessing the origin. Luo Feng also understood why bloodline path cultivators need certain special resources. Cultivators need to refine high-level primordial bloodline to become high-level primordial life. To become world-level primordial life, they need to refine world-level primordial bloodline. But as for those innate primordial lives, it is hard for them to acquire higher-level bloodlines. It is quite an achievement to be granted a drop of blood by a higher existence. Even if they don't acquire high-end bloodline, just by eating and living, some innate primordial lives grow naturally. Some even grow into ancestors just by consuming source world origin. Cultivators on the bloodline path value the primordial bloodline the most and have researched many methods to extract the primordial bloodline. However, they cannot extract a complete bloodline at the ancestor level. But for innate primordial life, their core isn't their bloodline, it's their life core. The growth of the life core leads to the growth of life. Every step in the growth of the life core triggers the evolution of the bloodline. So, the strength of early stage divine emperor, middle stage divine emperor, the manifestation of the primordial bloodline differs accordingly. Luo Feng fully understood. The life core is fundamental. The bloodline is merely the external manifestation of the life level. Cultivators cannot truly utilize the life core. They can only extract and utilize the externally manifested, primordial bloodline. Luo Feng sighed slightly. Innate primordial lives are truly the darlings of infinite primordial space. Born with a life core, and under various opportunities the life core grows continuously. It can grow to a level comparable to the source world origin. Reaching this level means achieving ancestor level existence. This is the mystery of the highest level of life. Ancestor level life forms and the source world both have an origin, and a lord should have an origin too. For the first two, their origin is materialized. As for the lords, their origin is the primordial level Dao. If the Dao does not perish, they do not perish, so every lord is immortal. Luo Feng understood the difference between the two. The ancestor's origin is the life core, which has clear weaknesses. The lord's origin is the Dao. Invisible, untouchable, undying, and immortal. Lords also have weaknesses. Luo Feng had learned some information, understanding the difference between primordial ancestors and cultivator lords. Primordial ancestors generally have large physiques, while the lords, their physiques are generally smaller. Of course, this is an average standard. Ancestor-level physical bodies are generally much larger than lord-level physical bodies. The life core is a material existence. It can endlessly accumulate power, supporting a sufficiently massive physical body. Lords, without a materialized origin, have limited power storage within themselves, and generally have smaller physiques. If given a choice, Luo Feng believes those ancestors would prefer smaller sizes, without the vulnerability of the life core, truly becoming undying and immortal. My life and death Dao primarily focuses on life, with destruction as a supplement. Now, I have glimpsed the mystery of the highest level of life. If I fully comprehend its essence, I can completely construct billions of origins within me. For those ancestors, their life cores are innate. If Luo Feng comprehends the Dao within, understands the essence, he can create origins postnatally. Just like opening countless heavenly spaces within his body, the same principle can be used to open billions of origins. On one hand, I need to eliminate the vulnerability of origin. Even if I lose thousands of origins, the impact on me remains low. On the other hand, I need to leverage the advantages of origin, for billions of origins can accumulate incomparably vast energy, enabling me to have an immensely powerful physical body. Both want, both demand. Only the Dao that understands the essence of life can achieve this step. If there is a lord who can realize the primordial life Dao, his body will also be the most immense, most vital, and hardest to destroy existence in the entire infinite primordial space. Luo Feng's primordial life and death Dao, after all, focuses on life, and his path more reflects the characteristics of the life direction, with the destruction direction being relatively weaker. Land of origin, atop the mountains of Primordial Island, inside the quiet room of the cave mansion. An endless gigantic secret pattern map of 31 ancestor-level materials floated in suspension. Luo Feng's eye of life and death opened on his forehead, observing carefully. I see the path. But the path requires me to walk it myself. Only by walking to the end can I grasp the Dao within. Luo Feng is well aware of how difficult it is to remove the critical weak points of the origin while taking advantage of the endless energy storage of the origin. But this direction is what he has always pursued. What seems like scattered secret patterns is actually unified. Even if the other 7 lords were to look, it would be difficult to see how dozens of different Daos mysteries form the origin. Specialize in one's field. The current 7 lords, whether it's the Destruction Path, the Thunder Path, or the Fluctuation Path, none are proficient in life, and origin is the highest level of life's mystery. Without sufficient accumulation in this aspect, without terrifying comprehension in this area, it's fundamentally impossible to see this path. Luo Feng realized the foundation of the half-primordial life and death Dao, also comprehending over 50 million low-level primordial bloodlines, more than 320,000 high-level primordial bloodlines, and researched over 2,000 world-level primordial bloodlines along with materials from 31 ancestor corpses, accumulating deep enough. Relying on his strong comprehension, he finally glimpsed this path. Discovering this path, Luo Feng then had the possibility of becoming a lord. No wonder any ancestor, the mystique of life within them is at least 10%, because the mystery formed by the life core mainly relies on life's mystery. Luo Feng also rejoiced. With life path as the main direction, there's hope to explore the mystery of the origin. If destruction were the main focus, the difficulty of breaking laws with force might significantly increase. Breaking laws with force also requires luck, Luo Feng thought. For him, realizing half-primordial life and death Dao didn't feel too difficult. Though he encountered some bottlenecks, he only took less than 10,000 years to succeed. However, to break laws with force, merely glimpsing the path, Luo Feng felt a sense of needing luck. My future, primordial life and death Dao, besides the existing mind consciousness system, life system, destruction system, primordial force system, and physical body system, has a 6th system, the origin system. The origin system is even more central. Luo Feng devotedly comprehended the secret patterns of materials from these 31 ancestor corpses, researching how the origin integrates and forms. After all, his future self will combine the wonders of life and destruction. And these ancestors combine numerous mysteries of the Dao. He cannot imitate but must understand its essence. The same thing, observed from different angles, yields different insights. Luo Feng now, observing from the perspective of the origin system, gained new understanding of the secret patterns of these 31 ancestor-level materials. His origin system seems like a seed, drawing nutrients from these 31 ancestors, starting to grow robustly. This time Luo Feng spent even longer. Meticulous comprehension. Again and again. Luo Feng carefully considered materials from different ancestors, pondering deeply. He forgot time, only feeling his accumulations in all aspects rising, and the origin system gradually taking shape. Almost there. Suddenly one day Luo Feng stopped. He had studied the various materials from these 31 ancestors so many times and was too familiar already. My 6 systems of primordial life and death Dao have deep accumulations. Although Luo Feng had not yet created the primordial life and death Dao, these 6 systems naturally integrated in his mind. He even had a vague outline of the primordial life and death Dao in his heart. These primordial bloodlines, I have comprehended low-level and high-level primordial bloodlines. However, among the 2,729 world-level primordial bloodlines, I've only comprehended 43 types. I've studied ancestor-level materials for over 10 billion eras. Now let's see how much I can comprehend from the 2,729 world-level primordial bloodlines. Luo Feng retrieved one of the uncomprehended world-level primordial bloodlines and auxiliary materials. After less than a day of viewing. Interesting. With Luo Feng's current insight, upon examining world-level primordial bloodlines, he discovered a secret, and a smile appeared on his face. It turns out, at the world-level primordial stage, the secret pattern mystique within them has already begun forming the origin. However, the origin formed by their internal secret patterns is incomplete. For the ancestor level, the origin constituted by secret patterns is complete, comparable to the source world origin. The world-level secret patterns are actually forming the origin, but the incomplete origin is hard to detect. Only after Luo Feng accumulated sufficiently in the origin system could he discern this point. Land of origin within the quiet room of Yuan's cave mansion. A towering figure sat cross-legged, his body like a pillar of the infinite primordial space, unshakable. Around him appeared various great Dao, all becoming tangible. Some took the form of winding divine dragons around his arm, while firebirds circled between his hair, radiant mists flowed through his mouth and nose, and billions of universes were born on the surface of his skin. Lord, the Feng 7 line in the Chunwei world group has fallen. Lord, the Changsu origin world has been breached, its origin devoured. Lord, the Ice Peak camp has entered our Chunwei world group. I wanted to repel them, but a terrifying existence from the Ice Peak camp acted, destroying my main battle avatar. The Ice Peak camp has already conquered 12 of our world groups. They clearly are not satisfied. Information flowed in continuously. Yuan, as the first lord of the cultivator camp, had immense accumulation, and his path of cultivation made him very suitable to oversee the entire territory. Although there are 7 lords in the cultivator camp managing different lands, key affairs generally fall under Yuan's decision-making. Only extremely important matters are discussed by all 7 lords together. A vast amount of information was transmitted continually. Yuan calmly issued command after command. He slowly opened his eyes, which contained life and death across time and space, as well as rising thunder and flames. While our cultivator camp is completely suppressed by the innate primordial life camp, other forces also come to take advantage and bite. Yuan was quite annoyed, yet there was nothing he could do. After all, in the infinite primordial space, though the 7 lords of the cultivator camp are formidable, the other forces are equally troublesome. No force with a seat in the land of eternity is easy to deal with, especially those unrestrained, undying existences. They currently take advantage to annex the resources of the cultivator camp, which greatly troubled Yuan. Under normal circumstances, the 7 lords could make some undying existences flee in defeat. But under the threat from the innate primordial life camp, the lords couldn't spare any strength. There are still too few lords. Why is the innate primordial life camp the largest force? Because they possess over 100 ancestors. Yuan pondered. Cultivator Luo Feng has comprehended the 97th world-level primordial bloodline. An inconspicuous piece of information among many did surprise Yuan. He has already comprehended 97? Yuan began to focus his attention. To have comprehended 97 world-level primordial bloodlines was already very special. Because of the current 7 lords, 5 first refined the source world, becoming master of the source world, and relied on abilities of speed of thought, comprehension at the master level to eventually comprehend the primordial level Dao. The remaining 2, Starlight Lord and Lord Naigu, are fusion Dao cultivators and once spent a long time comprehending the world-level primordial bloodline. Lord Naigu, before jumping out of the braided cage, comprehended 397 types of world-level primordial bloodline. Starlight Lord, before jumping out of the braided cage, comprehended 512 types of world-level primordial bloodline. Of course, they both shared a common point. Back then, the cultivator camp collected far fewer world-level primordial bloodlines than now, less than half the number today. In history, among fusion Dao cultivators, the number who comprehended over 100 world-level primordial bloodlines before jumping out of the braided cage is only Starlight and Naigu. Yuan held some expectation. Luo Feng's current place of seclusion was maintaining a million-fold time acceleration. He comprehended world-level primordial bloodlines swiftly. Cultivator Luo Feng comprehended the 100th world-level primordial bloodline. Cultivator Luo Feng comprehended the 159th world-level primordial bloodline. Cultivator Luo Feng comprehended the 231st world-level primordial bloodline. Yuan originally paid just a bit of attention while handling various affairs to Luo Feng's information. Later, he primarily focused on Luo Feng's information. The importance of all other information in the cultivator camp was pushed back. How so fast? In just one era, from the original 43 types rose to 231 types. Yuan was somewhat stunned, even considering the time acceleration in the cave mansion. Comprehending 200 types in a million eras was still fast. Yuan did not immediately notify the other 6 lords. At that moment, their 7 main battle avatars were engaged against 71 ancestor-level existences. On one side, experienced and numerous, their coordinated efforts held an absolute advantage, aiming to annihilate a lord's main battle avatar, forcing the remaining 6 into complete retreat. On the other side, mastering the essence of Dao, 7 leading in defense yet looking to kill a weak ancestor. Their battles at this level could last over 1,000 eras and still be the norm. 300 types of world-level primordial bloodline. 400 types. Already 513 types, he is now the cultivator camp figure who comprehended the most world-level primordial bloodlines before jumping out of the braided cage. Yuan was excited, the most intense he's been in a long time. Luo Feng's number of world-level primordial bloodline comprehension exceeded that of Lord Naigu, and Starlight Lord was not Yuan's main excitement, though once the primordial bloodlines were much fewer. His fundamental excitement stemmed from speed. Luo Feng's rate of comprehension was simply overwhelming, sweeping through without obstruction. None of the world-level primordial bloodlines took Luo Feng too long to comprehend. It's 600 types now. It's 800 types now. It's 1,000 types now. Yuan's eyes shone brightly. In less than 10 eras of time, which isn't even 10 million eras in real time, he's comprehended so many world-level primordial bloodlines? He must have grasped the essence of them. What kind of essence can penetrate through over 1,000 types of world-level primordial bloodlines? Luo Feng must have already touched upon some kind of highest level of power. Yuan immediately sent messages to the other 6 lords. Everyone, focus all efforts on dealing with these ancestors and try to delay them as much as possible. Yuan transmitted, I have good news for you all. Our cultivator camp is likely to give birth to a new lord. Land of origin. All 7 lords had avatars present, gathered together. A new lord. Jin, Wulan, Ming Huang, Naigu, Starlight, Mo Man, and Yuan were all somewhat excited at this moment, for they had been severely suppressed by the innate primordial life camp in the recent eras. Some other forces even took advantage of this, naturally making them quite aggrieved. They even predicted that, given the enemy's determination to go all out this time, the entire realm of the cultivator camp might fall. Losing all territories means losing the soil for cultivating endless new cultivators, making it incredibly difficult to nurture a lord again. Moreover, the extinction of countless cultivator creatures was something the 7 lords were unwilling to witness. Luo Feng has already comprehended over 1,000 types of world-level primordial bloodlines? The 6 lords who just received the news were somewhat shocked. How long has he been cultivating? Lord Mo Man couldn't help but say, only about 1,500 eras? Considering the actual seclusion time, it's only been 1.5 billion eras. That's such a short time. It is very short. Starlight Lord said softly, back when I used the power-breaking technique, the real time was about 12 billion eras. Through the unimaginably long ages of suffering, the Starlight Lord finally mastered the space-time Dao of the primordial level. Starlight, don't you have many avatars in the future? Jean asked excitedly, urging, quickly take a look, see Luo Feng's future. I just observed some time ago, then I saw over 30 million futures for him with only 9 that could become a lord. I'll take another look now. Starlight Lord began observing information about Luo Feng through his avatars in the future. In every timeline of the future, space is vast with a plethora of information to probe. Discover the weaknesses of those ancestors, finding the possibility to kill an ancestor in combat. Observing how other nearby forces will act. Luo Feng as a junior, Starlight Lord would only occasionally check on him. Starlight Lord's expression slightly changed. The 6 surrounding lords looked toward Starlight Lord, such a strong ability to observe the future solely in the infinite primordial space. Even within the primordial ancestors, some excelled in space-time. Yet even if they can revive from the future, it costs a long time to do so, indicating that their space-time mastery is far behind Starlight Lord. Only Starlight Lord was qualified to be called the observer and recorder of past, present, future, in infinite primordial space. What happened? Jean asked. Many of Luo Feng's future timelines have already collapsed and extinguished, unified and constrained into one future. Starlight Lord said in disbelief, the path ahead of him has only one possibility, to break laws with force. I observed over 30 million timelines and he has tried using the power-breaking technique, succeeding in over 20 million times. Those failed attempts are still ongoing. Starlight looked at the 6 lords. The 6 lords could hardly believe it. The future contains too many possibilities. Jean Lord couldn't help but say, yet his future has now started to collapse and unify? The future swiftly collapsing, consolidating into one possibility. This is the reality that is about to be born. Reality is rapidly locking in, unable to alter. He should have already mastered the highest level of secrets. Lord Ming Huang said, so it only takes time to unify all wonders, transforming into primordial level Dao. Such strong comprehension? Wulan couldn't help but mutter, I became the master of the source world after spending 50 trillion eras to become a lord. How long has he been cultivating? Starlight Lord's gaze swept over the 6 lords. Everyone LuoFeng's future is collapsing and unifying, his future is also affecting the entire cultivator camp's future. Yuan and the others listened to Starlight Lord's narration. A being that can observe countless future possibilities, his advice is invaluable. I will immediately arrange a formation for LuoFeng's cave mansion, mobilizing the power of the entire land of origin to maintain, increasing the time acceleration of his cave mansion. Starlight Lord said. From now on, the war strategy changes to delay strategy, stalling the progress of this war. Starlight Lord said, delay until Luo Feng completely uses the power-breaking technique. The situation will change then. Okay. The 6 lords all agreed, the imminent arrival of new companions and the potential reversal of the war situation excited them individually. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.